Guys, thank you so much for joining me. If I could just get you to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Emma. I work in IT, and this is my husband Scott. We have two children, Nathan, who's 5, and Lara, who's 1.
Perfect. Thank you, Emma and Scott. Guys, why did you reach out to me in the first place? What was going on for you guys?
Well, we hadn't had a lot of sleep since Nathan was very little. He was a very poor sleeper, and it just became the norm for us. And then when our little girl Lara came along, I returned back to work. We decided that we couldn't go on living this way, and we needed to make some positive changes in our lives to help get our sleep back on track.
We had kind of tried everything with Nathan as well. We didn't want to go down the same route with Lara, so we thought let's seek professional help.
Okay. On a typical kind of night for you guys, pre working with me, what did your nights look like?
Wow, the kids would go to bed sometime 8, sometimes 9 o'clock, whenever we could kind of wrangle them into bath and bedtime. And then Nathan wouldn't leave Scott alone, would he?
He wouldn't. He would constantly be getting up, needing to come and check on, see where I was. He would come down. It wasn't that he didn't want to sleep. He just constantly wanted someone with him more than anything. And this would happen all through the night. It wouldn't just be at bedtime between the amount of time that we were upstairs with him. He would be up at 1, 2, 3, 4, up into our bedroom. We would have to go down with him to put him to bed. He wouldn't go back down into his room on his own. So yeah, no one was getting any sleep at all, really.
And just to add, with Lara, was she was so little, she was still breastfeeding to sleep, and I could see the same pattern emerging that happened with Nathan, where she wouldn't fall asleep unless she was breastfed, and if she woke up in the night, I had to breastfeed her to sleep, which means Scott could never do any of the putting her to bed or settling for naps. So I could see the pattern starting again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did you guys find me?
Oh, I found you. I went to a soft play with Nathan, with some of his nursery friends. I'm pretty sure I was so tired, and I sat down with all the mums, and a mum that I knew had similar age children to Nathan and Lara. She said she'd been working with you recently, and it's changed the way that her kids were sleeping. And the one line she said to me was like, "I wish I'd done this sooner because I would have had a much better maternity leave." Because she said she was so stressed out with this not sleeping that she didn't have time for either of her kids. And that resonated really deeply with me because I was in the same position. I was just about to go back to work for maternity leave. I didn't really enjoy it because I wasn't getting a lot of sleep. I had two kids to look after during the day, and it made so much sense to me. So I got your number, and here we are.
Absolutely, absolutely. And how did you find working with me? How did you find the process and working with me?
Oh, it was excellent. It was, I don't know how, it's very comforting having you there. When you first start this off, you're like, oh, we've tried everything. How's this going to be any different? But, walking through the videos were very informative. The chats with you were very friendly. The plan was easy to follow. And having you there that next morning where we could, talk about what happened last night, and we need, the problems that we were having, it felt like you really understood what we were going through, and you could quite pinpoint us in the right direction of where we needed to go.
Can I just, from my side, I would say I was probably the more skeptical one. I just thought kids are kids. This is what they do. I'm a parent. It's what I should kind of go through. It's my job to get up in the night. And Em did push it, which is kind of how relationship works. She's generally right. But from the first day, it was very professional, very different to what I was expecting. The questions that were asked and the way you built the profile up and we had that chat was very encouraging for me that, yeah, this is possibly going to be something that we should definitely explore further. And then that first night when you told us what to do with Lara and it just worked. I mean, we spoke that Nathan was probably going to be more difficult, but at no point did I think that she was wanting to be in her own room, just put down, just left. What she was being awake for was probably that, yeah, she didn't want to be where she was, and we were trying everything else. That wouldn't have happened without talking to you. So it was, yeah, immediate help, really. It's what we got.
Brilliant. That's so lovely to hear. So what does night times look like now for you guys, and indeed your daytimes and your weekends?
So the kids have a set bedtime now, which they never really had before. So it's nice. I look forward to bedtime now because it's like I know they're going to be in bed soon, and then you have your time to yourself in the evening. It still can be difficult because they're messing around and they're jumping and but that's all part of the fun, isn't it? Putting the kids to bed. They both now go to bed on their own in their own rooms, and 9 times out of 10 they stay asleep all night. It's only the odd kind of occasion where they wake up if they're not feeling very well. And now we just wake up. We've got more energy in the morning. We've got more energy at the weekend. We've started going to the gym again, spending more time focusing on ourselves. Being just more patience and understanding for each other because we're not ratty all the time.
Nathan is also a lot easier because he didn't sleep. He would be, I wouldn't say overly difficult, but he wasn't happy, was he? Because he was always tired, whereas he's a completely different person. Those odd times when he did get a good night's sleep, that's every day now. We're not upstairs from 7 till 10, 11. We're downstairs at like 7:30, done. Let's have dinner or do whatever, you know what I mean? We can catch up on what we do and have a bit of time. So it is like chalk and cheese compared to how it was. We wouldn't see each other even though the kids were in bed because one of us would always be upstairs, would we? And then weekends we're up and out and about and a little bit more active because we're not taking turns to have naps on the sofa to try and catch up on sleep. So it's a massive difference.
Brilliant. And for those people out there that are feeling a little bit skeptical, would you recommend working with me and going through this process?
Most certainly, yeah. I think my only regret is I didn't do it sooner. We could have done this with Nathan, 4 or 5 years ago, and saved all of that being awake all the time and functioning on hardly any sleep. I would recommend you to everyone if I could.
Yeah, echoed. You get used to it. That's the thing. You get used to not being having sleep, and you do talk to other parents, and they're in the same situation because they too haven't seeked the help that you can provide. We were very lucky that Em did speak to someone at the right time. And yeah, it doesn't need to be how it is. It isn't the norm that you need to put up with. So we should have done it earlier.
And it was quick as well, when you look at it and you think, oh, all these nights I've got to go through this plan, but in the grand scheme of things, those couple of nights are a drop in a bucket compared to the time that you've spent getting up in the night and the years behind you and the years to come as well. So it's worth the pain of those couple of nights of getting the plan in place.
It wasn't as scary or as hard as we were expecting it to be either, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Kids like a structure, like to know that everything's the same. Mum and Dad are confident in what's going on because the random factors been taken away by what might happen. It wasn't. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it wasn't difficult. Is a different word, but it wasn't as scary or as troublesome as we thought it would be for either us or the kids, was it? It was sensible. It was sensible, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, guys, thank you. You guys were an absolute pleasure to work with as well. And you obviously put in the hard work and you're all now getting a good night's sleep. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much.